Presented by Self-Value Tube, your path to daily success.
Welcome, dear viewers. Today we're going to explore the story of the Great Seattle Fire of 1889. Do you know how it all began? The disaster started innocuously in a small cabinet shop. In the heart of the city, nestled on the corner of what is now known as First Avenue and Madison Street, a spark ignited that would forever change the face of Seattle. This was no ordinary fire, but the genesis of what would come to be known as the Great Seattle Fire. Within the humble confines of this cabinet shop, a pot of glue was accidentally overheated, setting the course for an unimaginable disaster. A worker, in a futile attempt to extinguish the blaze, inadvertently knocked the pot over, spreading the flames. What started as a minor rapidly escalated into a full-blown catastrophe. One might wonder, could a single spark cause such a massive inferno? The answer lies in the city's architecture. Seattle, a thriving frontier town, was predominantly built from wood. From its houses to its sidewalks, city was a tinderbox waiting for a spark. And on that fateful day in June 1889, the spark was provided. Fueling the flames were the strong winds that swept through the city. Like a monstrous wave, the fire surged forward, consuming everything in its path. The wooden buildings, tightly packed together, offered little resistance to the relentless onslaught. The city's firefighters, brave as they were, found themselves woefully ill-equipped to battle rapidly spreading fire. Their firefighting equipment, rudimentary at best, proved grossly inadequate against the raging inferno. Furthermore, a severe water shortage hampered their efforts, making an already daunting task seem almost impossible. As the fire grew, firefighters found themselves ill-prepared for the disaster that was. The city, once a bustling hub of activity, was now at the mercy of a fire that showed no signs of slowing down. This was the beginning of a dark chapter in the history of Seattle, a chapter that would leave an indelible mark on the city and its people. Despite the heroic efforts, Seattle's firefighters faced insurmountable challenges. As the flames danced across the city, the firefighters were forced to battle not just the fire, but also the shortcomings of their own equipment. Imagine, if you will, a scene of chaos, where the very tools of salvation were not enough to confront the raging inferno. The fire engines, rudimentary and poorly equipped, were ill-prepared for a calamity of this magnitude. But it wasn't just the equipment that was lacking. The city's water supply proved woefully inadequate, leaving the firefighters with a dwindling arsenal against an enemy that was growing with every passing second. As the fire consumed block after block, it was clear that a more drastic approach was needed. The firefighters, in a desperate bid to arrest the fire's progress, turned to an unconventional method, creating fire breaks. The idea was to remove the fuel that fed the fire by demolishing buildings in the path of the flames. City officials, along with brave citizens, used explosives to bring down structures, hoping to halt the fire's relentless march. But the flames were not easily tamed. They danced and roared, consuming everything in their path. Despite the valiant attempts to create fire breaks, the fire continued to spread, its hunger unquenched. Yet the spirit of Seattle's defenders did not waver. Hour after grueling hour, they battled the flames, their faces etched with the grit and determination that would become the hallmark of Seattle's resilience. The fight was arduous, the conditions brutal, but the resolve of the firefighters unbroken. After 12 long hours, the fire was finally under control, but the damage was done. The flames had painted a picture of destruction across the heart of the city, leaving behind a landscape forever changed. But in the face of this devastation, the spirit of Seattle remained unbroken, ready to rise from the ashes and rebuild. When the smoke lifted, the scale of destruction was laid bare. Seattle's heart, its central business district, was decimated. The subsequent morning following the Great Seattle Fire, the city awoke to a panorama of desolation. The once vibrant nucleus of trade, a tapestry of stores, offices, and hotels, was transmuted into a stark, desolate wasteland. The fire had devoured 31 city blocks and over 100 acres. Towers that once soared towards the sky were now reduced to ash, and the streets were strewn with the charred skeletal remains of what once thrived. The fire was not just destructive, its ferocity was lethal. Yet, amidst the debris and ruins, the city breathed a sigh of relief as the loss of life was kept to a minimum. A tale circulates about a young boy named James Gowan, who was supposedly claimed by the flames, but no credible records from that era exist substantiate this claim. The city was in a state of shock. The energetic, bustling Seattle they once knew had vanished, replaced by a smoky, skeletal manifestation of its former self. Residents were displaced, businesses eradicated, and the economic ramifications were severe. But in the darkest despair, a spark of hope ignited. The spirit of Seattle was unbroken. Seattleites confronting adversity displayed remarkable resilience. They united, offering support and aid to those who had lost it all. They were resolved to reconstruct their city, to elevate it beyond its former glory. They refused to let the fire define them. Instead, they embraced it as a catalyst for transformation. City officials, buoyed by the communal support, initiated recovery plans. They recognized this as an opportunity to modernize, to create a safer, more resilient city. They chose to implement stricter building codes and replace wooden structures with fire-resistant materials such as brick and stone. This bold move was a testament to their resolve to rise from the ashes. With the city in ruins, Seattle faced the formidable task of reconstruction, but it was a challenge they were prepared to tackle. The aftermath of the fire signaled the commencement of a new chapter for Seattle, one of resilience and rebirth. The city might have been beaten down, but it wasn't defeated. The ashes of the Great Seattle Fire became the bedrock for a new fortified Seattle. In the face of devastation, Seattle saw an opportunity to rise from the ashes and modernize. The city had just endured a fire that had consumed its central business district, and it was left with the daunting task of rebuilding. But Seattle, resilient and ambitious, chose not merely to rebuild, but to reinvent. Instead of returning to the wooden structures that had turned into kindling for the Great Fire, city officials adopted stricter building codes. The new laws mandated the use of fire-resistant materials like brick and stone, a significant transition that would alter the aesthetic of the city and better equip it against future threats. The streets, once lined with wooden buildings, began to see the rise of more substantial, sturdy structures. But the city's transformation wasn't limited to its architecture. The infrastructure, too, was modernized. The fire had laid bare the inadequacies of the city's firefighting resources, and in response, Seattle invested in a better-equipped fire department and a more efficient water supply system. This overhaul was more than a response to the fire. It was a proactive measure to protect the city's future. As the city reconstructed, it also diversified. The rebuilding process attracted a flurry of investors and workers, leading to a boom in population and industry. The city was no longer just a frontier town. It was evolving into a bustling urban center. The rebuilding process was a testament to Seattle's resilience and vision. The city didn't just recover from the fire, it used the disaster as a catalyst for change, transforming itself into a more prosperous and modern city. Seattle had risen from the ashes, stronger and more vibrant than before. In the face of adversity, Seattle had not only survived but thrived. It had moved forward, not with fear, but with ambition and optimism. It had turned a devastating setback into a springboard for growth and development. The rebuilding process transformed Seattle into a more prosperous and modern city. And that, perhaps, is the most remarkable story of all. The Great Seattle Fire was a turning point for the city, marking its transition from a frontier town to a major metropolitan center. Though initially a catastrophic blow, this devastating event ultimately laid the groundwork for Seattle's future growth and prosperity. The fire's aftermath prompted an overhaul of the city's building codes, marking a shift in the architectural landscape of Seattle. Wooden structures, once a common sight, were gradually replaced by buildings made of brick and stone, materials that were not only fire-resistant, but also symbolic of Seattle's resilience and determination to rise from the ashes. As the city rebuilt, it also modernized, shifting its focus towards creating a robust infrastructure that could support its growing population. The tragedy of the fire was transformed into an opportunity for progress, setting the stage for Seattle's metamorphosis into a bustling economic hub in the Pacific Northwest. This event also had a profound impact on Seattle's community spirit. The collective effort to rebuild in the face of adversity fostered a deep sense of unity and shared purpose among the city's residents. This strong community spirit remains a defining characteristic of Seattle's identity to this day. Today, the Great Seattle Fire is remembered not just as a disaster, but as a catalyst for change. It's commemorated each year on the anniversary of the fire, with educational events and exhibits, serving as a reminder of the city's resilience and its ability to turn adversity into opportunity. The legacy of the Great Seattle Fire is deeply ingrained in the fabric of Seattle. It's a testament to the city's tenacity and its unwavering commitment to progress. The fire shaped the city's character, influenced its development, and continues to inspire its future. The Great Seattle Fire of 1889, a devastating event that reshaped Seattle, remains a pivotal moment in the city's history. From the ashes of disaster rose a city stronger, more unified, and more resilient than ever before. The legacy of the Great Seattle Fire is a testament to the indomitable spirit of Seattle and its people. And it's this spirit that continues to shape the city we see today. But the story doesn't end there. The legacy of the fire is a living, breathing part of Seattle. It's in the city's architecture, its community spirit, and its continual drive for progress and innovation. And now, we want to hear from you. How has the story of the Great Seattle Fire impacted you? Are there lessons from this event that resonate with your own experiences or perspectives? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. This is not just a story of a city, but a story of its people. And your voice is a vital part of that story. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this journey through Seattle's history and want to join us for more explorations of pivotal moments and fascinating stories from around the world, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Great Seattle Fire of 1889. Remember, history is not just about the events that happened. It's about the lessons we learn and how we choose to carry those lessons forward. Till our next journey together, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep sharing your stories.